Hey guys, this is Jason. I'm reviewing F1, directed by Joseph Kosinski, and it stars Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, and Damson Idris. And it is about Sonny, played by Pitt, a famous race car driver who gets recruited by Javier Bardem to go to Formula One and become the best racer there. He's trying to compete with this team while also dealing with this hotshot rookie, played by Idris. And he decides to be a part of the team so that he can try to redeem himself after a horrible event that happened to him the last time he was a part of Formula One. This is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who also did movies like Tron Legacy, Oblivion, Only the Brave, and of course Top Gun Maverick. And some of those films aren't the greatest, but Top Gun Maverick ended up being his best film, and in my opinion, better than the original Top Gun. Please don't give me a lot of hate for saying that. That movie had a story that got me invested in the characters, it had really good acting, and it had some of the best flying stunts I have ever seen in a movie. And because of that reason, I was pretty excited to watch F1, even though I'm not a huge racing fan. I mean, I don't hate it, it's just not for me. But besides that reason, I still wanted to watch F1 just for Kosinski directing it, and I am happy to say that he has done it again. This is a great movie that I had a lot of fun watching, and what made this film a lot of fun and pretty intense is that they use a lot of real stuff for this film, like real cars, real racetracks, and you have actors that are actually driving those cars on screen. It all looks unbelievable, and you can actually see Brad Pitt and Damson Idris actually driving those race cars for the film. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you would see Tom Cruise doing, and none of it looks fake, none of it is CGI or green screen. They were doing some real driving for those race scenes, and it all looks incredible. But what I also loved about those race scenes is with the cinematography, where at times the camera will pan from the windshield to the actor while the actor is driving. And the camera does that a lot, where it will just pan to the windshield and then back to the actor, pan to the windshield and pan to the actor. And sometimes it would be shot outside of the race car. They use a lot of that for those scenes, and they make you feel like you're in the race itself. Another thing I gotta praise about this film is with the editing, where you would see characters talking and they would use a lot of quick cuts for them talking, and then it would also use some quick cuts for characters like fixing up a car for the race car driver. And where in most films that would annoy me, because they would just use that to make it all blurry and you can't really understand or see what's going on. Here though, this movie doesn't use quick cutting like that, because it helps make some of the dialogue scenes feel more intense when they're talking about the race and what they have to do for the race, or when they're seeing Brad Pitt on the track doing the whole thing, making this film feel very fast paced and barely have a dull moment and get you to pay attention to what's happening. Now let's talk about our two main leads in the film, played by Brad Pitt and Damson Idris, who play characters that really don't get along for a while, where Brad Pitt's character is a bit reckless and lazy, but he is also a good racer, and he is trying to overcome his past, because something bad happened to him a long time ago that kind of made him this way, where he doesn't really show a lot of excitement for racing anymore because of that. And when you learn more about his backstory as the film progresses, he becomes a more sympathetic character, and you start to feel bad for him. And Brad Pitt gives an excellent performance, and I am actually a fan of his. I loved him in films like Fight Club, Bullet Train, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and in some of his serious stuff like Moneyball. This is definitely one of his best performances. He makes the character feel likable, interesting, and you feel sympathy for him. I haven't seen much of what Damson Idris did, but he did do a really good job here, and his character does start off a bit reckless as well, where his character does start out egotistical and thinks that he's better at racing when he's really not. But when Brad Pitt comes in and tries to do things his way, that pushes him to try to get rid of him in some way. And every scene where they're just butting heads, they make the film a lot of fun. Which also leads to this one thing that both of these characters are trying to achieve: redemption, where one character has a troubled past and is trying to overcome that past and do better, while the other is trying to do better himself, but can also be a little egotistical and make him look like a bit of a jerk. And when the two of them are just talking to each other and we learn about both of their backstories, that gives the film more of an emotional pull, which is another thing I loved about Top Gun Maverick, that film having an emotional pull for its two main characters, Tom Cruise and Miles Teller. Now, this movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes, and that is pretty long, which could bother some people because they wouldn't always want to watch a film that's like that long. And it can also be kind of an Achilles heel because sometimes they would add some things just to make the film feel longer when at the end of the day it just ends up being filler. But with this film, it didn't have a scene like that. Every scene in this film felt like it was important, it felt like it had a purpose in the story, and it got me interested. Whereas the film was progressing, it never really made me feel like I was watching a long film. It felt like I was watching a film that was like around 2 hours and 12 minutes. Now, there is one romance subplot between Brad Pitt and this other character played by Kery Condon, who is a good character. I did like her arc in the film when she's trying to do better at her job, because she plays a mechanic that's trying to get better at trying to set up Brad Pitt's car, and she also built the car herself. And their romance, for me, is the only thing in this film that I thought felt tacked on and unnecessary, and it also felt like it was just there to give Brad Pitt a love interest, where again, she's not a bad character, she does have a good purpose to be in the film. It's just that I don't think they need to have a romance in the film. It just felt unnecessary for the rest of the story, and that's the only thing in this film that didn't really interest me a whole lot, where everything else relating to the races that they're in got me very interested, and then at times they'll cut to a romance that's building up and it's like, I don't need this. Where I think if you remove that subplot, the movie wouldn't be any different. F1 is another awesome movie from Joseph Kosinski. It has great and engaging characters, really good acting, great cinematography, race scenes that are very intense, and real cars that they use for those scenes. If you love racing, I do recommend watching this film, and I even recommend it to people that don't watch racing. And if you love Top Gun Maverick, this is a must watch for sure. It is definitely one of the best films of 2025. I'm gonna give F1 an A. So guys, if you have seen F1 either in theaters or at home, what do you think about it? Do you think it's one of the best films of the year as well, or do you think it's overrated and not that great? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing, because it helps my channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you know what other videos I'm posting. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.